Why do you think people love Caitlin Clark besides her skills?
She can shoot threes from logo.
We never seen that before. That's my point.
The reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize.
What if I told you the scandal everyone's clutching their pearls over right now isn't really a scandal at all? What if Angel Reese quitting on the Chicago Sky was the most predictable headline of the WNBA season? The kind of plot twist you could see coming a mile away if you were actually paying attention? That's the reality we're living in right now. Fans are in shock, teammates are stunned, the media's whipping it into a frenzy. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't shocking. This is Angel Reese being Angel Reese, the player who can fill a stadium with noise but can't always be bothered to fill a stat sheet when it counts. Now, if you're here, I know you've already seen the tweets, the memes, the hot takes flooding every corner of the internet. You've seen people demanding answers, asking what's going on with her back injury, wondering why she's ghosted her team again. And I'll tell you, the common belief out there is simple. Angel Reese is misunderstood, unfairly targeted, carrying too heavy a load for too long. That's the sympathetic headline, the story fans cling to because it feels comfortable. But here's the contrarian take. She didn't tap out because her body failed her. She tapped out because that's her move. It's not an accident, it's a lifestyle. Look at the proof. This isn't her first disappearing act, not by a long shot. LSU, unrivaled, now Chicago. Twice in a row she's walked away mid-season. That's not bad luck, that's a pattern. And here's the plan for today. We're going to break it all down. Why the hype around Reese was always a mirage. Why the Rookie of the Year race with Caitlin Clark was never even close. Why Chicago fans bought into a billboard when what they needed was a builder. And most importantly, why Reese's story tells us more about the dangers of building brands before resumes than any highlight reel ever could. Let's start with the second best point, because this is where the expectations versus reality gap screams the loudest, the so-called Rookie of the Year race. The media painted it like Allie versus Frazier, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, two titans of women's basketball locked in a historic duel. That was the expectation. The reality? It was never close. Clark was putting up historic numbers, carrying a team every single night, turning every game into a highlight reel of grit and precision. Reese, meanwhile, was doing just enough to feed the hype machine. Double-doubles padded in garbage time, a few fiery taunts, a glare for the cameras. The stats weren't shouting dominance, they were whispering, maybe next year. Context? Clark worked for every headline. Reese had them handed to her. Application. When you watched a Fever game, you saw sweat equity turning into buckets, assists, and leadership. When you watched The Sky, you saw a brand ambassador on the court more worried about the post-game lighting than the scoreboard. Framing. Clark's attention comes as a byproduct of effort. Reese's effort looks like a byproduct of her attention. But if that was the appetizer, here's the main course, the best point of all. Angel Reese doesn't want to be a basketball player. She wants to be a celebrity who happens to play basketball on the side. That's the harsh truth no one wants to say out loud because it ruins the narrative. She's the Houdini of the hardwood, master of the great disappearing act. Her highlight play isn't the Euro step or the spin move. It's the moment she walks away when the grind stops serving her image, and you can see it in the way she treats injuries. Nobody's saying she should play through pain. Nobody should. But the timing, the pattern, the refusal to even travel with the team, sit on the bench, cheer her teammates on, that tells you the injury isn't the story. The story is the choice. Leaders show up even when they can't play. They bring energy from the sidelines, they take accountability. Reese? She ghosts, she tweets, she spins it into self-care. And yes, she'll probably sit down on a podcast next week, call it Protecting Her Peace, and half the internet will eat it up. Now let's rehook here, because some of you might be thinking, come on, she's young, she's figuring it out, she's got time. And that's fair, except Caitlin Clark is the same age. Youth is not the issue. Work ethic is. Hunger is. Clark's building a dynasty from scratch. Reese is still looking for her next LSU, a ready-made championship level roster she can parachute into without lifting the heavy bricks. Here's the tragedy. Reese isn't untalented. She's got size, presence, flashes of dominance that prove she belongs on the court. But talent without effort is like a Ferrari without gas. It looks great parked in the driveway. It doesn't win you the race. And the Chicago Sky bought season tickets to watch her stall out. Let's widen the lens. This isn't just about Reese. It's about the league, the media, and the fans who fed the hype beast. Every commentator who treated a double-double like it was divine intervention, every fan who mistook side-eye and sass for leadership, every marketing exec who plastered her face on graphics like she was already the face of the WNBA. You built the myth before she built the resume. And when you crown someone too early, don't act surprised when the crown slips off. Rehook again. You want to know why this matters? Because this is about respect for the game. Chicago fans deserve players who grind when the cameras are off. They deserve someone who shows up whether the arena is sold out or half empty. Someone who runs the floor like every possession could be their last. That's what Clark is doing. That's what champions do. And every time Reese checks out, it's another reminder that she's chasing a different kind of trophy. One made of followers, headlines, and hashtags. Now, let's talk leadership. True leaders carry the weight, even when it's crushing. They take blame when things go wrong and spread credit when things go right. Reese? She's allergic to accountability. When the ship sinks, she points fingers. When the spotlight dims, she finds a new stage. That's not leadership. That's self-preservation. And the Sky, bless their hearts, thought they were drafting a cornerstone. What they got was a billboard. Flashy, photogenic, but structurally useless. You can't build a house on a billboard. It falls the second the wind shifts. So where does this go? Reality check. Angel Reese will quit again. Not because she's cursed, not because she's fragile, but because quitting is her playbook. The towel joke? It's true. If she threw it in, it would take her 4 tries to land it near the court. Not because of her wrist, but because consistency isn't her thing. And here's the kicker. She'll still get more attention for quitting than half the league gets for winning. That's the brand-first athlete paradox. Headlines don't require effort, just drama. But here's what nobody's telling her. Fame without foundation fades. Likes dry up. Endorsements expire. But your record, that's forever. And right now, hers reads like a disappearing act. So let's recap. Expectation. Angel Reese was going to be the Chicago Sky's savior, the face of the WNBA, the rival to Caitlin Clark. Reality. She's become the Houdini of women's basketball, quitting twice in 2 seasons, turning every team into a pit stop on her fame tour. Clark is building trust, winning games, and earning every ounce of spotlight. Reese is curating an Instagram feed and spinning self-care while her teammates play shorthanded. And the high note? Maybe this is the wake-up call the league needs. Maybe this is the reminder to draft for heart, not hype. Because hype gets you July headlines. Heart gets you September trophies. Chicago gambled on hype, and now they're lying in a bed about as comfortable as a pile of sweaty game day towels. And as for Angel Reese, she'll either decide to change the script, grind, sacrifice, silence the critics by proving she can be more than a brand, or she'll keep riding the fame train until the tracks run out. That's her choice. But Chicago Sky fans don't have to buy another ticket. They deserve better. So, what do you think? Is Angel Reese misunderstood, or is she exactly who she's showing us she is? Either way, this story isn't finished. And if you don't want to miss how it unfolds, stick around, because I guarantee the next chapter is going to be just as messy, just as dramatic, and just as addictive as